see the rain hit it, take a picture, snap at it.
Swing on, bro. It may sound crazy, but I wanna go outside. Swing on, bro. Swing on, bro. Still swinging. Still swinging the rain. Peace, peace, peace. What's going on with your sister Kashia? You know, you the first one here. You know what I'm talking about. Always opening up the doors. You know, I appreciate it. Peace, brother Antonio. Thanks. I appreciate it. What's up with your brother Zach? You know what I'm talking about. Already, you know, for sure. You know, bruh, Edge Town. You know what I'm talking about. Edge Town. You know, you already know. You know, I got it. You know, it's going down. It's not down. It's down. You know, it's going down. You know, you know, I'm screwed up click. My name is Precious. Peace is Precious. You know, I'm the best with you when you come in. My name is Precious. But yeah, peace everybody. I will let y'all have had a great strong upcoming, you know. This is movie Innerstandings with me. Brother. You know. Sometimes I feel like I have to introduce myself like y'all know who I is. You know, because it ain't about me. But yeah, what we gonna talk about today is Mindwalk. It was made in 1990, and one of the actors was actually the dad from Home Alone, Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, you know, and to me, it was a surprise to see him in it, you know, and, just see him there, you know, so shalom, Chief, you know, oh, for sure, Chief, for sure, we we had to do it, you know what I'm talking about, it was coming up, you know. And I'm gonna have to tell y'all now, it's a bunch of information in this movie. So if I miss anything, just jog my memory because it's just so much. Like really, I got so many notes, you know. The movie ain't even that long, you know. It's not over 2 hours, but I feel like I got 2 hours worth of notes and then some, and my notes still ain't complete. But yeah, peace is Sequoia, you know. But at the start of the movie, we see that it's in DC, and one of the main characters, Jack, you know, he's looking out, you know, is looking out over his balcony, and peace is the Moksha, and he calls up his homie Tom, you know, which you can't tell until you really watch the movie, but Tom is, you know, not in the U.S., he's in France. So, you know, they talking and, you know, about, you know, basically Jack is restless, you know, because he's trying to rerun for president, you know, and he's supposed to also run for the Senate as well and whatnot. But, you know, he talks about him feeling tapped out, you know, and Thomas is like, basically, American American politics, a snake pit, you know, it's a hall mirror for narcissists. This Jack / Jake equals Jesus figure. Nah, I would say no, brother Zach. You know what I'm talking about. He's not he's not the Christos. You know. Nana Pazan was the Christos. If you ask me, Nana Pazan was the Christos, but no, Jake was not. Now you gotta be saying Jack was not. Jack wasn't the. Wasn't that he was not he didn't seem like it because he was being schooled. You know, he didn't come with the enlightenment. He was the he was busy being a student, if you ask me. But yeah, so he says, Tom was like, come to come to France. We love you over here. And so he comes. He goes to France, and they're driving in the car. And Tom, in his mind, he's talking, and he says, I'm always looking for the real guy behind the facade, but maybe the facade is the real guy, which is very interesting to say, because some people, that's them, the facade is the real person, you need, I guess you could say, you need not look to you need only look at Snapchat, Instagram, what I'm talking about, and the facade, probably is the real person if because that's all they are. And so as now they're in France, and he, John is walking with Tom, and you know, and they're talking back and forth. But then we cut to a scene where we meet, well, Sophia and her daughter Kit, and they're having breakfast. And Sophia wants to finish her book, and Kit's like, "I'm bored," like a youth is. I'm bored. While this person wants to finish their book, and it's like it's Roman. It's like you will never do nothing. And Kit gets frustrated with her, and then walks on off. And but she tells her mom that she needs to get out more and meet people. You know, like her mom is, at least in that scene, seems like a homebody, and whatnot. And she's like, Mom, you need to get out more, meet people, do something. Like mom's, really getting on her nerves. You know what I'm talking about? And so after that, Tom, and Jack, they're trying to go to this island like citadel that's there. I call it an island citadel because that's what it looks like to me. But you know, what I took from this movie before I say anything is that basically I felt like this was a conversation between white folks. This was a conversation between a white man and this woman. This was a conversation between white people. And if you watch this movie, you'll see why I say that. But Jack is talking to Tom and wondering, saying, you should go back to New York. Come back to New York. And Tom is saying how, he loved New York, New York City, when he was young, and making investments and all that and whatnot. But then when, alimony, IRS, child custody, it brought the reality in. And he was like, and he said, who needs it? Sophia equals wisdom. Or am I still reaching? No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You already remember the Greek. Let's just say this. Sophia Sophis, I already read that. I'm talking about. You own it. Yes, I thought the facade statement was poignant between that and the real or early late call showed how shallow or closed off he might be. Yeah. Yeah, that's what. Well, we look. You just said, Sophia equals wisdom, and Sonia. I broke. Yeah, I broke down what Sonia meant. At least in my mind, what it meant. Um, but but what Tom said about New York it's the idea probably of a lot of people as they get older that are from cities. We like them when we're young, and then when we get older, we like, man, who needs this? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be in the country. If you ever been, or I'd rather be somewhere else. I'd rather be in the country or out of the country. you know, Out of the country, somewhere else. But as he's talking, he says when Nixon left in '72, I think the fight went out of all of us. And what he's referencing is when Richard Nixon resigns in '72 because of Watergate, and he is on that plane. This is way before my time, so and he's doing doing the peace sign, and that whole thing, and he's on Air Force One and whatnot. But that's interesting to say, for them, that's what they felt, that 72, the fight went out of all of us. And then, Tom also says, when you buy into big business, you gotta emancipate yourself from your morals, or you live a life of squeamishness, which was interesting because, how many people got these jobs where they sometimes do have to emancipate themselves from their morals, and have to live a life of squeamishness, if they feel squeamish. Some people don't feel squeamish, they go along with it and not by the eye. What I'm talking about. And then he quotes Confucius and says, of the 39 steps of escape, the best is flight. And he's like, so I fled, while he's in France. And he goes on to say, I'm still a retarded romantic, to believe France is still a place where you can get away and think. And I can understand, at least then, but now I look at France and I'm like, bruh, they got their own issues, they going through it as well, their own turmoil. It's not a place, where you could think. Europe is not a place where you can just go and think, no matter where you go, you're going to see some instability and craziness. But that was interesting. And then, as they, basically go up the Citadel, and Tom talks about we still have to discover that quality the world so desperately lacks, and Jack is like, vision, and Tom's like, no, perspective. No, Jack, perspective. Which was an interesting quote. you know and so as they, go along, and one thing that was interesting to me is when Jack is talking about the Italian premier before Mussolini was asked if it was difficult to, govern Italians, and he says, no, it's not difficult, only useless. Which, if you know the history of Italy and and everything, I can understand why why he said that. If you know the history, though. It was interesting that that quote was given to governance of people, which you know put a light bulb over my head. And so, you know so they're looking at all this history, and Tom is talking about medieval times and the people of those times, and he goes on to say, Judgment Day for them was the ultimate day off. Not no, not the ultimate off day, which she's referencing to, our times, where Judgment Day for us would be the ultimate off day. you know, which made me think that you don't see with your eyes, then you know how to read, but can't read between the lines in reference to lack of vision. Yeah, a lot of people can't read between the lines or read the room or even, um, physiognomy. You know, ever since Chief been talking about physiognomy, or I watched a lot of things with that reference physiognomy. I watch it. You look at some people and they just look grimy as hell. They just look it like it's just really on their face, and you be like, man, this grimy. Stay away from him, or this person's shrewd. He got certain facial features of somebody that's shrewd or whatever, and which goes into lack of vision or perspective. So he as it's still talking about Judgment Day. Um, Tom talks about how Judgment Day was the day for deliverance, and how time was sacred. Time. Which was interesting. And as they are at the basically the door of, I would say, the cathedral of the Citadel, and they're looking at all the murals that are, you know, um, on the doors. Tom says, no saint stands alone, which was interesting. Wouldn't that also equate to culture? Um, I would say so. You know, because it's a cultural perspective. You know, um, basically in this movie it seems like an entire cultural perspective. That's why I say this is a conversation between white folks, because it seems like an entire cultural perspective on the world and everything, man. I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot to take in, you know and then they talk about politics for a bit, and Tom says politics confuses everybody. But then um Jack is talking about his his quote of Tom's quote of no saint stands alone, and he says, that's the essence of my profession. Between every politician, and his own point of view, there stands, three fat cats, two lobbyists, and they all got microphones, and no man's an island. you know, um, which was interesting, because if you are, I guess, if you are in that political structure, that's pretty much what it is. It really ain't about the people. It's about who got the most who got the most money to get in your face. you know and what's trending, and not what's right, or things of that nature, at least in my perspective. But so as they constantly talking, they what was said was, we lost some of the sense of being all one, but we got our freedom, which is not a bad trade-off. And Jack says that, which is interesting. It's like we lost the sense of having a I guess being a part of the of the of the of the one, of the creator, but we got our freedom. What I'm saying? I guess I say it like that. Which, in his gentleman, well, it's not a bad trade off, But so another quote that was said as they was talking: American voters want their leaders to be dumber than they are. Which sometimes, if you look at what's going on, don't seem like you lying. you know or is it, what I'm talking about? Well, if you look down the line at basically notifications, I get them too. But look down the line of presidents, and you see their backgrounds, you be like, huh? you know. But that was an interesting quote. And so they um they go into the cathedral and they go into basically I'll say the clock room. And Tom thinks that the making of machines or this mechanical clock um, was humanity's break from nature. Now if you this, we can't say that. That's was it? Are you speaking for all of us? you know, um, which made me think of why people invest so much into a vote. Many people break down why to vote, but not how things actually work in this world. Thank you, brother Zach, because it's like, don't y'all know how the electoral college works? I ain't the smartest person in the world, but I could have sworn I paid attention in civics class that that one time when everybody else was falling asleep, I was up like, this is interesting. I could have sworn I played. I learned that in the civics class, but yeah, it is what it is. And um, and so they meet Sophia, and she says that the clock was the model for the cosmos, but then people started to believe it. That it was the real thing. Which was an interesting thing. Because if you look at certain medieval, I guess, drawings of the cosmos, you would sort of get that idea. At least in the dark ages or whatnot. Um, so Sophia, which last name is Hoffman, she introduced herself, and she's a scientist, but a physicist. Um, Also, we find out that Thomas is a poet, and they start talking about Descartes, philosopher in the 17th century. If you ever took a poli sci class, you're gonna learn a little bit about Descartes. Um, and Sophia tells you that Descartes, tells us, tells them pretty much, that Descartes came up with the view that the world is a clock. And, he instituted a revolutionary break from the church, that I don't need the Pope to find out how the world functions. I can do it myself because the world is a machine, which for me is like, yeah, with the five senses a lot. Yeah, yeah, it's like, brother Zach, it's like that line from Star Wars, A Brave New Hope, when Obi-Wan Kenobi is saying, your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them. you know, that's just one thing. But she says that, and I'm like, I don't know about that. you know, because you know that idea seemed like it was already present when the Protestant Reformation came. When Martin Luther wrote the 95 or 96. Well, the 90, the theses, the 90, I think it's 95 thesis. Yeah, it should be. It's been a minute, but that idea of breaking from the church, at least the Catholic Church, was already, pretty much in play by, before Descartes even really came on the scene. They were starting wars over that stuff. That's what the Protestant Reformation came about. But, they were already seeing that now. He did institute a revolutionary break. Maybe according to them, he did, but it just seems like the idea was already there. He just made it popular or whatever, or put more emphasis on it in a philosophical view. But it was already, already primed and ready for that message anyway, by other people, if you ask me. But so she goes on to say how scientists believe that natural things are nothing but machines, because of Descartes. And she goes on to say how we need a new way of thinking from the machine view, which she's basically saying that for us to thrive in today's world, we need a new way of thinking from the machine view, which was very interesting. That's probably why her name is, Sophia. Sophia. That sure is a pretty name. Hey, I know a lot of movies, but yeah, they played with that for the film. Descartes fled to Switzerland and died there. He wrote a series of meditations. Um, the first four implied that God was a tyrant and trickster, or nonsensical. Um, on the fifth and sixth meditation, he negated the ice because the church was beheading people for heresy at the time. We can thank you, Chief, because you ain't. We can go into the Inquisitions, but mind you, this ain't got nothing to do with us. At least not yet. When that stuff go around, they problem. But yeah, man, this man. I mean, we can go into the Inquisitions and what the church was doing and indulgences, see Protestant, things of that nature. But yeah, man, I mean, oof, they were beheading people. You know, that's how gutter these priests and bishops and popes were. You don't agree? You're a witch. Oh, burn that chicken steak. Heresy. Everything is heretical. you know, but yeah, and so as they walking through the citadel, Sophia talks about birth control, and she says, Lilf Ullman played Sophia Hoffman. Where is this Sophia thing coming from? Oh, I guess. Oh, I, I quote movie chief, and that Sophia thing came from they go color color purple. It just came out of my mind. Sometimes that happens. It just. But yeah, um, but she talks about birth control and how the most effective form of birth control is not a pill, but economic and social gains, which was very interesting to say. Um, yeah, they were pyromaniacs, burn the books, burn the witches, burn the hair. Exactly. you know. Man, I mean, just crazy, man. I mean, just the things that they did. They'll burn the books, but then they'll keep them. They'll keep the real ones locked up, for you not to see. But and then she goes into the starvation of the third world and hunger, you know. And she quotes, must we starve our children to pay for your debts? And then she talks about, Brazil, destroying their rainforest, one football field, a second, because they're trying to pay off their debt, which is basically pretty much what she's talking about is, the debt from, the IMF, And yeah, you know, even now, ever since they had their newly elected president, shoot, they've been, you know, again, cutting down their rainforest, so for sure, man, that was very interesting. That she referenced that, you know. Then she talks about medicine and how medicine has become for the rich, and uh, and how public health would change, just by you know changing, you know um, our eating habits, you know, and Jack asked, well, where do we start? And she says, by changing the way we see the world. And so they keep on talking about medicine, and Jack says, how his dad was a doctor, and we take out a gallbladder, we stop the pain, and whatnot, and the problem's pretty much solved, right? And looking at everything holistically instead of compartmentalizing things. Exactly, brother Zach. Then she talks about replies and saying that blocking the mechanism of a disease doesn't mean healing it. Just like healing something is, a cure. It's not the same as healing something. Or being healed. As Chief talked about, and I've heard, brother Zach say the same thing. You know. And then she goes on saying that a little health education might have been much cheaper than the operation, which made me think of what my Baba used to say to me all the time. He used to say, "It's better to pay your grocer." Yeah, I know you got it from Chief, but my Baba used to say, "It's better to pay your grocer than your doctor." Used to always say that to me, man. And I know, but like I said, I know you got to cheat. That's why. But I'm used to you saying it all the time as well. So you and then she goes on to say, our system pretty much discourages prevention, but encourages intervention, which is very interesting to say, because you can not just look at medicine, but a lot of things. You know what I'm talking about? Uh, like for me, I think of the drug, drug abuse or whatever. It seemed like so much money was put into intervention, but not prevention. Or whatever. But maybe that's just my own opinion as I think about it. But in a lot of things, it just seems like, yeah, that's what happens. It's not about prevention. It's about intervention, because that's where the money is, And Sophia talks about the water contamination, you know, um, and whatnot, um, and how the people don't trust politicians no more. Mm. Yeah, we know that, and so they get to torture chamber in the Citadel, and they see PC or Tracy, Pieces Stas May. They get to the torture chamber and they see these young people playing on it. They're a couple. In that moment, Sonia was opening her mind from her previous statements about systems and mechanics. Okay, I feel you. I feel you, Chief. But the young people are playing on it, and then they see uh, Tom and Jack and Sophia come in, and then they run, And Jack was like, why do you want to, um, talk to us or whatever, or why do you run like that, And Thomas says because they don't believe in us, they don't believe in us, which was interesting. And then they talk about, how things are one big torture room, and then Sophia talks about Francis Bacon, who presided over the witch trials of King James the First, and where women were, basically persecuted, burned at the stake for believing in, natural things and goddesses and things of that nature, which was interesting. But like I say, it was a conversation between, not us. But we all know that did happen. Those those trials, shoot, even came over here. One, we all know the famous one, the one in Salem. So dang on good, they wrote a book about it, and then they came out with a movie, and then they came out with a TV show. Like that was the only one. But we are not gonna go into that one. But and then she goes on to say how modern science, business, and technology torture the planet. And you know Thomas talks about Phyllis Schlafly, which it seems like at this point, Sophia is about to, is coming with some feminist rhetoric at that time, talking about the patriarchy and whatnot. And if you know who Phyllis Schlafly is, she was always basically the protagonist to feminism. At least at that time, when feminism was going off, she was always the dissenting view, Sonia the system, Jack the hands on pragmatism, Tom the flexible bridge, a theory between the two. Mm, that's interesting. But even though it sounds, for me, it sounds like really names, Sonya the system, Jack the hands of protagonist, they sound like, that's what they, uh, but Tom says, why is it, solely patriarchy? And then, Sonya's like, you men are out of control and the women are the victims, you know, like I said. And so we find out more about Sonya, and what she did as a physicist. Um, she worked on lasers, and she created an X-ray laser, basically for modern medicine at the time. But the military got a hand over and used it for something else. Um, but she she talked about Isaac Newton and how Isaac Newton made Descartes' dream come true. When it came to I guess you say mechanization, and she goes on to talk about Newton's laws of motion. Um, like we getting real heavy into science, like you really, have to remember like science class for real. Like I remember that, and they start talking about light, you know, and she says, to understand the nature of light, you have to know what matter is made of. atoms consisting of empty space, which was interesting. Uh, and how, the concept that can no longer be visualized, and how matter does not exist, but only shows a tendency to exist. Some of this is hard to, at least for me, seems like it's hard to put in words, but philosophically you can understand it, what I'm saying, how matter does not exist but only shows a tendency to exist, you know and they start talking about electrons, and she talks about how electrons don't move from place to place, and they don't stay in one place either. They manifest themselves, as probability patterns, throughout space. It's like, wow. you know, I mean, you don't hear about science. If you ever took a science classes are never philosophical. They don't feel philosophical, but in this film, and you feel the philosophical, or the philosophy in science, or in the natural sciences, or in natural science, or what they claim to be natural science, which is very interesting. As she says this, then they talk about solids, and how no solid object at the there is no solid object at the subatomic level. And I'm getting what to believe. We do know flash plans. Uh-huh. you know, and she goes on to say how life is a probability of interconnectedness, in relationships. It's so, as she's talking about interconnections, Thomas is like, relationships make music, and then she said relationships make matter, and it made me remember, in the archive, it's because at the subatomic level, matter cannot be triangulated or mapped out, but has movement. So the ability to pinpoint a location or how some define existence. Hey, Chief, that's that is look, that's a lot to. But yes, sir, yes, sir, for real. Um, But as they're talking about relationships, it reminded me of an archive show. I can't remember which one, but I remember, Chief started it off. When he said, when you get down to it, you're gonna figure out that all of this is about relationships. Because I used to listen to it a lot. So when he gets to that line, I'd be like, relationships. I would really do that too. Just for me to always remember. Um, so then you understand, certain these certain concepts are all about relationships, and then you view the world like that, in a sense, that these things are about relationships. Your culture is about relationships, your community is about relationships, your statutes are about relationships. How you eat is about your relationships. I mean, we can go on and on and on, man. Yeah. And so they go back to light, and how light is both particle and wave. And I was interesting because I was thinking that if at least how I rationalize it, if you are light, you're a man and you are the light, you are both particle and you are wave. And for me, it was like, okay, if I'm wave, you can feel me on certain wavelengths, because I am the light, and I can, and also you're going to feel me on a particle level, in certain ways. At least that's how my mind worked. Um, does this tie into Brother Zach's earlier comment about anything that can be perceived with the five senses? Um, being a lie or illusion. Um, hmm. At what level? At I would, but at what level is it a lie or an illusion? You know, like is it a lie or an illusion? Um, well, it's like this. As we can use like, at least in my mind, as I work this out. Oh no, no, brother Antonio. Sonia was speaking on causation, um, then I guess then probability. Okay, causation day, probability. Okay, okay. Give thanks, G. Give thanks for that. Um, but yeah, and so as they talk about, light, um, Thomas talks about Shiva Netaraj. Um, what he says is the Hindu god of dance, and how the Hindus believe that Shiva's dance sustains the universe. That Shiva's dance is the universe. That's the example that he uses. To explain everything that Sonya said, which was very interesting. You know, and so was supposed to say causation versus probability. Got you. Got you. So as they're looking basically over the balcony, they see these young people littering, and it's like, why did he do that? And Tom says, it's because of you scientists. Y'all made the bomb, and since y'all made the bomb, the whole world is disposable. And if you know what he means by that, he's talking about the atom bomb, the one that was dropped on Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Their names, Fat Man, Little Boy. That was on an Enola Gay. Yeah, that is the name. Like, how you know that? I paid attention to history class. And World War II was interesting. So yeah, if someone instigates you to action, the distance between the instigation and your reaction is not a thing, but does exist. There are a series of connections in the universe that link causes and effects. Interesting. you know, Sometimes when she's talking, you gotta, like really think it, meditate on it, just because it be deep, bro. Um. So yeah, he's talking about that bone, right? And Sonia is talking about basically about scientists and how there's no accountability for scientists and how they're not taught to be accountable. They're taught to seek truth and all these things, but nothing about accountability or responsibility. They give their responsibility away. Then she references the um, Native Americans and how they made their decision with the seventh generation in mind. And when I heard that line, I thought of this poem, this musical poem called "Crazy Horse" by John Trudell. You know, um, and how He talks about that, how how we hear what Crazy Horse says, and we are the seventh generation. It. But yeah, uh, Chief says those linkages are the subatomic matter of probability and causation that she was referring. It's the unperceived force between yin and yang. Mm, okay, got you, Chief. Tracking. Um, can't quantify can't quantify the activity, but doesn't mean that is still not real, which many call spirituality pseudo, but it picks up where science leaves off. Can you explain that, brother Zach? Because maybe I'm missing it in translation. Um, is this is what is referred to as dark matter? Um, hmm. I I can't say that. I really don't know. You can call that dark matter. You know, brother Antonio. It's an interesting concept though. Um, or would that still be technically quantifiable? Can't say I don't know. You know, but anyway, so she goes on to talk about how science doesn't exist anymore and how science is expensive. Um, and how 70% of all science that's done in the US is paid for by the military. Um, which was an interesting concept because it's like, well, it's how you got internet. When she talked about that. How the internet was first designed for the military. What I'm saying? A lot of things, you know, that you probably have now is was used for the military. You know what I'm talking about? I was trying to go on the distance of instigation from the earlier comment. I was staying my line. For sure. But hey, brother Zach, I ain't tell you stay in line. I mean, go out there, bro. I mean, you want to switch lanes on them, switch lanes on. You want to swerve right? Go ahead and swerve, swerve. But anyway, it's okay. I mean, look, community of learners. I mean, we all taking the trip on together. I mean, and it's fun to basically see where everybody's brain go. I mean, it's just ain't mine. My path takes me a certain way. You probably can understand it, and we are learning together. And basically being that community of thinkers. You know what I'm saying? And going on the ride, seeing different things, and seeing different viewpoints. So yeah, I wouldn't tell you to stay in your lane, bro. You want to swerve on, swerve on, swerve right, swerve left. you know. But yeah, just don't hit nobody. But for sure. And then she talks about scientism is an irrational belief on the truth of science, and it's become a religion today. Which was interesting to me. How scientism has become a religion and things of that nature. It's just like I said, it's so much in this movie, man. I mean, how scientists give their responsibility away, but it's true. We talked about the atom bomb and they even talk about that. I think because I have to remember these people's names. What Otto Schopenhauer, I believe. he felt like he had blood on his hands, when, you know, because of the atom bomb and whatnot. And, you know, that's an example, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not taught to, that these things you're responsible for, you're accountable for, you know what I'm talking about. And, yeah, and how, she goes on and talks about how, basically a scientist really isn't a person that's, in his lab, working or whatever. It's something totally different, which I can understand, uh, it's a lot of things, what I'm talking about. But, so as they walk, walking on the Citadel, and Tom's talking about 1968 Chicago Democratic Convention and how he met Jack there, and being that I'm from Chicago, 1968 Democratic Convention, way before my time, but I know about it. It was when there was protests at the Democratic Convention, and our mayor at the time, Richard J. Daley. Let me set me correct, because I'm so used to Richard M. Daley. Should be Richard, his daddy, Richard J. Daley. Sick the cops, sick the cops on the protesters, and it was televised, and as the the convention is going on, they condemned Chicago for how they were treating the protesters, whatnot, but hey. Look, Daley would have that. if you this place, look, them kids was getting their ass whooped on Michigan Ave. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You were not going to come to Chicago and think you was gonna act a plumb fool on Michigan Ave. Oh no, Daley don't play that. they don't play that, man. They look, they will do that. But yeah, man, I mean, so Sonia talks to she meets up with her daughter Kit, and Kit thinks that she hears a mom or whatever, she says that she thinks that her mom, as her mom talks, that she's really talking about herself and her own problems, and that's why she can't relate to Kit, which was very interesting. But it shows the disconnect between the old and the young. Sometimes, sometimes we can I guess talk about grand thinking or whatever, but we can't relate to the young or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Which you got to be able to do that, but you can see why they have such a poor relationship, or she explained it. Kid is explaining that, which is very interesting. Mind you, doing all this talk, I like the acting in this, but I really like Tom's character just by his verbal communication, because as Jack and Sonya is talking, basically, and they go back and forth. Tom is gives a look, it's constantly giving looks like, at the end of the day, these two gonna get together. They just need to get a room. It's like the sexual tension is real, and Tom is just eating it up, and he's enjoying it. But like I say, good acting. But then they go into more politics. I thought Brother Zach says, I thought that was a representation of the young people. They were trying to hand something over to them, but they just wasn't interested. I can feel that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, sometimes what Chiefs say about how, some people want to hand over certain spirituality, I guess, and the young people just ain't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? We're into it, but we expect, the young to be into it, and that's just not what they're into. Yeah, that could be it, brothers. That, what I'm talking about. It really could be. You know, but they go in to talk about how in 1968 Nixon won the youth vote, and as Ronald Reagan did, which I my mind is like, what you vote? Mind you, I'm talking from a perspective. Like, what you vote? You talking about? But yeah, um, and Jack, goes on to talk about how he feels constrained by his constituency, because Jack is a conservative, new conservative Democrat or whatever. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. You know what I'm talking about, and then they finally go into system theory. You know what I'm talking about, and you know the theory of living systems. Recognizing the essence of every living thing, which was interesting. And then he go into what is life? Jack asks, what is life? And Sophia replies, self-organization. You know, and she goes into how a living system is self-maintaining, self-renewing, and self-transcending. And um, she talks about how basically a living system is not determined by its environment, um, and when it comes to which is self-maintaining, and when it comes to self-renewing, it's constantly replacing ourselves, and self-transcendency is creating new forms. you know, um, and how evolution is an ongoing dance and conversation, which was, very, just a lot, man. It was just crazy. It was amazing, you know. And so, as they say this, I believe it was Thomas says, we don't evolve on the planet, we evolve with the planet. But that goes into being a natural being. You evolve with the planet. Whereas to me, if you are an unnatural being, you probably evolve on the planet. But you have to be, I guess, in tune with nature or whatever to evolve with it, to see where it's going. You have to have that interconnectedness with that. Same thing, with the divine. You know, Jack's hands, Jack's hands were tied with telling someone that how they were generating revenue, they may need to change. Values are ultimately connected to economics. Yeah, like I say. Um, and Sophia talks about giving importance to the next generation, and then next generation after that, and the need for a sustainable society. And Jack is eating this all up, right? And he said, I want you to work on my campaign, you know. And he's like, man, but you're gonna have to get hand dirty. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to learn how to, hear people that lie. You're gonna have to learn how to do this. You're gonna have to learn how to do that. But I want you to work on my campaign. Put some of your ideas, to good use. And it just looks like, Sophia ain't feeling it, right? She ain't feeling it at all. And basically, Tom was like, I don't think she needs to work on your campaign, or that's where she really needs to be, you know. And he goes on to talk about, isolation, and isolation is a very scary thing, and then he recites a poem by Pablo Neruda, you know. But then, you know, after that, he he questions, the theories that Sonya's been having, and he talks about how, life is not condensable, life feels itself, which was deep, man, if you ask me. And you know, they talking about all of this on the beach, which was interesting because before that scene, Sophia, she goes home to get, change her shoes or whatever, because they're going on the beach, right? And she talks to Kid again, and Kid's like, Mom, I like Jack. He's a good guy. Now, mind you, before that, Kid knew who Jack was. Sonya didn't know, but Kid knew who he was. But she's like, Mom, I like Jack. you know, I already said, look here, chick. You need to go get that politician D. and, and Sonya's like, he's a married man. And Kid's like, I don't care. you, go, if you want to go get him, basically, that's how I saw the scene, she's like, hey, go holler at him. She tried, hey, she looking out for her mama, because apparently her mama needed that light. If you know what I mean. Hey. But anyway, but I thought that was an interesting scene, though, because if you look at the movie, it was, man, the connection was there, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, yeah, these two need to get together. I don't care if the dude married, but he can if he got the game. But yeah, it's like, when are they gonna hook up? Because they just going back and forth and exchanging emotion and all that. They need to hook up. But yeah, and so anyway, we still on the beach, and um, they talk about how the healing the universe is an inside job. Um, like Chief was saying, the system getting with pragmatism. Exactly. I'm telling you. you know, and they walk along the beach and whatnot, and they run a little bit, and the tide's coming in. So as the tide's coming in for the Citadel, it's you gotta, if you see the tide coming in, you can see why the Citadel is structurally strategic, basically for war. Because as the tide comes in, it's like one big lakey moat. You know what I'm talking about? So it's in my military mind, it's perfect, to stage off siege, warfare, But that's I guess that's neither here nor there. But that's just something I paid attention to. But as the tide comes in, the three, part. But as they part, Jack, what Sonya says, I wish you could stay, and and Jack says, well, I wish you could come. And I was like, see, because in my mind, it made me think of, once again, Black Dynamite. You can, baby, you can go or you can come. Can you dig it? So when he said that, I was like, yep, yep, it's there. I don't know why they play it. But yeah, and they but they leave, because Jack and Thomas, they don't live in the Citadel, so they have to go. And as they part, we see Sonya looking at the sunset, you know, it seems like she's lost in thought. And as she's looking at the sunset, Thomas's words is coming back at them. Peace, brother Mar. Um, Thomas words is coming back. Um, is coming back to her, and then here comes Kit, and she's hugging her mom, asking what her mom is thinking, and her mom says, we should go home, or shall we go home? And they leave, to go home, and then we go to Thomas and Jack, basically mind talking to themselves on everything that was going on, you know. Um, Jack is thinking about all that Sophia was saying, you know, or and Thomas is doing the same, but Thomas is thinking of a plot. Mind you, Thomas is a little in my mind. Thomas is a little bit about like me, always quote, all these literary, works. Like I quote movies out of nowhere. you know. So I can understand, how he is, because that's how I am. I just quote movies out of anywhere, Even when I'm thinking, or when I'm in philosophical thought, I can still quote a movie line or something that, gives that thought an example. So that's why I like Thomas's character. He was just, amazing in that, in the acting role. But so as they, after that, you know, Thomas goes into another literary work, but he can't remember the rest of the poem, and that's the end. you know. See, another guy that had another background in theater, which you see the strength in people that started out in theater, you know, and how that works for them, which is very interesting. That's why I like it. The subtlety, that you got all of that and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about, and that's amazing. You know what I'm talking about. So, like I say, man, this was a lot. It was a very deep movie, and it was good, man. It was really good for it wasn't a very long movie, but it was deep, man. I mean, it was so much, man. You really gotta give thanks to Chief for sharing sharing one of movies in his lexicon. I'm gonna say that because I mean I've never seen it, but at the time when this movie was made, I really didn't. I wasn't checking for it. Yeah, from my experience, you have to learn how to understand everyone's perspective in the room while standing wherever you're on. Yeah, you really do. Um, so I mean, I feel you on that, brother Antonio. You know what I'm talking about. Um, it's it's amazing. I also like the fact that this was shot in basically it was shot in the Citadel, and it was showing, I mean, just maybe the old, medieval architecture and things of that nature. It's amazing, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't leave that part. So, or it didn't leave that setting, just seeing all that, and people still live there. You know what I'm talking about? And it was just so much that you can just say, you know, about this film. I mean, like wow, you know, I even like the mind, basically the mind talking, or you hearing other, basically hearing the character's thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because in some, you know, some movies or whatever, the person actually talks like they actually move their lips, but it's their thought, but it looks like they're talking to themselves. It totally loses you. But here, you just the person's not speaking, but they're you hearing what they're thinking, which works a lot, works wonders, so yeah, man. I mean, give thanks to this movie, man. I like I said, I enjoyed this movie. For me, it was a sleeper. And what I mean by that is, it's like I slept on this movie because I never heard about it until Chief said something about it. So it's I guess you say it's an underrated movie because I've never heard nobody talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Love and thoughts as well. Gave a true sense of what's going on behind the scenes, if you will. Yeah, it did. Sister Precious or Ia Precious, um, and you know you can't count out underrated movies, man. Sometimes underrated movies are like that for a reason, because I was reading the basically the uh who worked on the film, and I kept on seeing Capra, and it made me think of the director Frank Capra, who made It's a Wonderful Life. And thinking about that movie, when it came out, that movie was slept on. It did bad at the box office, but what? As decades went by, it became a legendary film. But when it came out, nobody paid attention to it. But every time, around this time, they played "It's a Wonderful Life" on TV. It's with Jimmy Stewart, and it is what it is. But I mean, you can't, like I said, you can count out underrated films. You. I mean, man, there's so many that are slept on and are really good. Really good, but no one talks about them. Because they're not trendy or popular or whatever, or they don't have cutting edge technology and effects or whatever. Um, the movie was based from the book The Turning Point. Great book. Of course, better than the movie, but both were great. For sure. I did also see that in the credits, Chief, that it was based off of the book The Turning Point. You know. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know no book that has whose movie has ever been better than the book. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know no movie based off of a book that's greater than the book. Because you can't be as detailed if pretty much about script writing. Unlike books, scripts you can't be as detailed as with books. So yeah, there was an interesting point. There was an interesting. Dang. Yeah. Oops, brother Antonio. There was an interesting point in the beginning where Tom is thinking, I shouldn't have invited him, but at the same time criticizing the facade most people have up versus the real thing. While at the same time he was keeping up the facade that he was happy to have Jack in the car at that point. Exactly, brother Antonio. It's like, some people invite you to come hang out with them, but he's like, I can't believe I can't believe you came. I didn't, I just said that to be nice or whatever. I really didn't want you to come, but here you are. Man, I was stupid to, offer you to come. I figured you wouldn't, come, but here you are. It is what it is. But yeah, man. But it shows the I guess, you know, human interaction, how some people can be, you know. Yeah, I'm mad because I do the same thing. So, exactly, Some of us do that, and then we get mad at ourselves for doing that, knowing that this is going to end how we knew it was going to end. You know what I'm talking about? This film was fascinating to me because the converging of political, scientific, and creative philosophical perspectives as systems theory is dependent on relationships. That's right, Sister Marsha. Man, you know, even as Sonia and Jack are talking, she's talking about her and Jack's relationship, and their relationship to the banister, that they were sitting on and things of that nature. You know, it man, like I say, it was a lot. It was a lot, man. It was a lot, and I was really trying to take my time into really put everything or every concept they was talking about on paper, man, because it was a lot. It seemed like it was a lot to me, you know. So yeah, like I said, man, um, yeah, um, it is one. It is a rewatchable movie, you know. Like there's a lot of movies you can only watch like one time. But there are just some movies that you can just watch over and over and over again. That's what makes them good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always gonna watch. Okay, I'm always gonna watch. I find myself always watching Casino. Like I just see Casino like more than 10 times. And that's just one movie, but I watched that movie over and I never get tired of it. Or the Godfather trilogy, or City of God, um Goodfellas, what else? Or does it go beyond that? Or like you said, would say Brother Lowe, mistaking the moon for the finger. I don't say that. Bruce Lee said that. In Enter the Dragon, it's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't look, concentrate on the finger, or you miss all that heavenly glory. you know? Oh man, another good. That's that. That one. That's another rewatchable movie. you know, with philosophical concepts. You know, but with martial arts or martial sciences. You know, but another rewatchable movie. I mean, so many. But to answer your question, um, does it go beyond that? Or like you say, I would say, it can. If these systems are transcending, um, and whatnot, then it goes beyond that. If it's evolving, then it goes beyond that. You know, it takes it a step further. So of course it can go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. So yeah. See, pieces. I didn't even know you was in the room. So everybody else but you, but pieces Deidre, yes. Enter the Dragon. Mr. Handman. What was it, Mr. Handman? I think it was. I can't remember. But and Bolo. I big muscle. Oh man, Bolo. Played in so many movies. But yeah, man. I mean, there are some rewatchable movies out there, you know what I'm saying? All depends on your taste. For me, it seems like my rewatchable movies are nothing but gangster flicks. Or other stuff, I guess. Crazy stuff. But yeah, man. I mean, or martial science movies. one I'm thinking of right now, Five Deadly Venoms, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Five Deadly Venoms. Oh man, I love that. And I love, Low Man, because he's named Low Man, what I'm talking about. He got low with it, And he was always my favorite character in Five Deadly Venoms, right? He played, remember, so he was the Toad, you know. Um so yeah, man. I mean, but V for Vendetta was one for me, you know. And I had a mafia phase when I was a teenager. Yeah, I I would say, man, it just wasn't. It's more to it than a mafia phase for me. I mean, maybe because I always it was I always got into the history or whatever. Fight Club, Reservoir. My name is Precious. You cool. If you said Fight Club and Reservoir Dogs, stuck in the middle with you, you're gonna be okay. Rule number one is you do not talk about Fight Club. His name is Robert Paulson. See? Look, you just say a movie. That's the legend, hero, and Jet Li. Man. Oh, another one. The Grandmaster. Um. If we going off that, Hero. Yeah, Hero was good. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. What's another one? Let's see. Yeah, the Grandmaster. Dang. Man, there's so many dang on kung fu movies I could dang on name. Shoot. A lot of them slip my mind. On Golden Pond, I've seen that. It's been a minute, but I've seen it. The Way We Were, scatter pictures. But I remember some crap. I think I seen The Way We Were. Ooh. Or okay. Fair to Remember. I could, maybe because I like the back and forth but between the leads, but Fair to Remember, that man, that was good, which I was expecting that to be a chick flick, but since it's an old movie, and I'm a guy, I was like, I'm not thinking about the the drama, the romance, but the chemistry and connection between the two leads, that got it for me, especially when they were on the boat. Tell me about the Golden Child. But for 3 generations, the child was born. He's come to rescue us. Rescue us from what? From ourselves. He's the bringer of compassion. If he dies, compassion will die with him. See, I'm just I think brothers that time is an agreed upon fast standard created to measure the same distance or an aspect of distance that Chief mentioned between the instigator and the action. Snake and Eagle Shadow. I've never seen that before, brother Antonio. There was one that's never been said, at least not. And this one was always a good martial arts film. 36 Chambers, bruh. Wu-Tang. And when I actually got to see, and I like, in 36 Chambers, how it's just a fight, basically a fight practitioner scene. He's like, oh, Gordon Leo is getting it right. It's just cool, man. I mean that. And if you look, we could take it to Japan with Zatoichi, Yojimbo, Ran is good. because it's based. It's just the Japanese version of King Lear, but it's good, right? You know, Zatoichi Yojimbo. Oh, and what I'm steadily watching. Oh, if you're talking about the old 47 Ronin, not that new stuff with Keanu Reeves, but 47 Ronin, bro. You know what I'm saying? 47 Ronin, Seven Samurai, or what I'm still trying to complete, Lone Wolf and Cub, or AKA Shogun Assassin, bro. And I can quote, when I was little, my father was the greatest samurai in the empire. He was the shogun's decapitator. He wasn't scared of the shogun, but the shogun was scared of him. Maybe that was the problem, bruh. Just the start, the start of it just goes off like that, and it's just, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? And choose the ball, and you would, choose the sword, and you would join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You may not understand, but still, you must choose, bruh. Umbach, oh, bruh, oh, and he's naming off, Thai moves, bruh, and he's just doing all types of formation, oh, bruh, you know what I'm talking about? Look, Princess Mononoke, which is classic and good, and I like that. If you pay attention, Jada Pinkett is in there when she voices, or at least voice dubs one of the people in Princess Mononoke, which is good. Kung Fu Hustle. Look. Look, the X game, bruh. Chief, Kung Fu Hustle. That's on Netflix right now, bruh. I tell you, just that whole scene alone, they just they are getting it too. With axes. Well, hatchets, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Tai Chi was another good one. Yeah, I would say that. Also, anything with Michelle Yeoh, because she played in so many. I can't name them all. Iron Monkey. Yeah, see, thank you, brother Antonio. I just remember her voice, but I knew she was in there. But I mean, like I say, we can go on when it comes to martial science movies. You know what I'm talking about. And we will talk about Chief's genre, which is blaxploitation. You got Dago, Superfly, Coffin. What's that one with what's the name? What, Nefertiti Jones? I think that's the one I seen. I think that memory serves me correct. That should be the name. Legend of the Drunken Master. Yeah, bruh. Truck Turner. Truck Turner. Uhura, because I can't really say her name. Michelle Nicole, she played her butt off in Truck Turner, if you ask me. This ain't Sears and Roebuck, nigga. I love when she say that. Okay, it was Cleopatra Jones. Thank you, G. You can tell I don't know. I watched it like one time. And I just, it's like, oh, she's cute, tall but cute, But yeah, Truck Turner was cool, man. And, you got Dolomite and what else? Oh, we can the Mac. Black Caesar, bruh. I watch Black Caesar. Well, I watch Black Caesar like I would Superfly for the soundtrack alone, because it's just James Brown. Black Samurai, bruh. Yeah. Three the Hard Way. Yeah. for like, man, for sure, like for real. I mean, if you see the, Last Dragon, can you teach me some moves? It's sucky hockey hock saki so you sock it to me, I sock it to you. No. Yeah, I I really paid attention to these dang old movies. Like for real. I really did. And I mean, look, we can go on the tattoo connection. Ooh, what's it called, Chief? Because you from New York. The story of Sonny Carson. That was good. I like when he was a little kid, like, man, I'll beat your ass, And then he goes through what y'all used to call that? I know y'all used to call, for y'all games, y'all used to call that something where, y'all got to go through this thing online and everybody beat y'all, but and you got to go through. I forget what y'all call that though, but y'all call that something, But what was that game? Well, one game was called the Tomahawks, and what was that game called? I forget. The Education of Sonny Carson. Carson, yeah, that was a cool movie, man. Um, Yeah, it's a game machine, but I forget what y'all call that though. It was a certain name that y'all call that for initiation though. No, brother Jay, it wasn't called getting jumped. I remember it was called something, but I can't remember what. But it's a littler name. Yeah, now these ones. But now you don't have to feel left out, sister, because now you've seen this movie. Now you know what we're talking about. Or if you're from where I'm from, Cooley High. Cooley High. You know, um, they in the movie theater. Hey yo, I'm like, man, what you say? Hey yo, disciples, you ain't said shit. Counts. And those are real guys too. Coach East and them, man. And oh man, I love me some Cooley High, man. Yeah, the Lords and the Hawks. Yeah, see. No, they wouldn't call it beat down. It was, I don't know. It was actual name. I'm not as old, so, but I'm going to finish. But go. Hey, Mindwalk is good. I mean, but all these movies, you see the Rolodex we just came up with. I mean, man, and we can go on and on. And what? That's like 50 years worth of cinema. Pretty much 50 years worth of cinema all around the world. And I ain't even talked about the dang Bollywood movies or the Nollywood movies. or some more Brazilian movies. Oh man, we ain't gonna go there. Yeah. Or well, at least right now I'm watching yes. Oh, you love it too. Well, I love anything with Shah Rukh Khan in it. Ajay Devon, Salman Khan, Ronnie Mukherjee. That girl got some beautiful ass eyes. And a bunch of people, man. I mean, I could just name off people. As you can see, I can name off people. Um, like I like it's a movie I always wanted to talk about. Bahubali. I like that movie. It's 1 and 2 though, but yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, I like well they call it Elite Squad, but it's Boba. You know it's 1 and 2. I like that. It got Saul George in it, but though that's good. And Brazilian Western and um, what else? But yeah, and we just like straight up naming just a bunch of dang on movies, man. But the Warriors, let me Sister Deidre, I love the Warriors because that's another rewatchable movie, but it really tells you about real New York gangs, not that whole, B and C, but real New York gangs and how they were. And their structure. That's why I like that movie because it's real typical New York. Real New York. Not L.A. or Chicago influenced. Because our gangs are there too. But I mean their own gangs and how they were. You know what I'm saying? So I love the Warriors for that. You know what I'm saying? Who's Cyrus? He's the one and only. Who's Cyrus? Magic. Whole lot of magic. you know. Or the baseball furies, it is based off of no, actually it's not a Roman tale, chief, it's a Greek tale, how these Greek mercenaries went to Persia, and they try to get home. That's what the director based it off of. It was Greek, not Roman. I, I have the I got the anniversary DVD at the time, and it went into that. But even I knew that it was cut in certain scenes because scenes that I remember weren't in that version. But yeah, I love the baseball furies, man. They were cool. Griffs, yeah, right. Oh no, not Griffs, Riffs. Grammar City Riffs. Grammar City Riffs. Riffs, yeah, right. And they all in, karate gis, looking all cool, especially he looked like the leader with the shades on. It's like, I want these warriors, I want them alive as possible, wasted. Warriors come out and play, yay! But it's a good movie, bro. Like, for real. And it's real. And knowing that, besides one person, no names. No names, bro. Like, no names. I only knew one person that was really a famous actor, and that was the dude that was always, what they call him? But anyway. But yeah, he was like the only one that really made it big. And the cop, because I think she played in Karate Kid, or she looked like the mother from Karate Kid. But other than that, oh yeah, bro, the Warriors is good. Like I said, if you want to know what Riding Apple and his game structure was, you watch the Warriors. If you ask me, that's just me. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. You see the intro, and it's got all the gangs and how they dress and whatnot, and they, and what they look like, and they all going to this big meeting. It's cool, man. You know what I'm saying? Some say Cyrus is the one and only, You got this gang from Coney Island, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn, son. And they got to make this fight all the way back home. It's a great film, man. Like, for real. If you want to see a gang film, that's one of the gang classics. We want to talk about colors, which is what it is. We gonna get Pac-Man. And the bull story. The bull story. Blood in, blood out. Blood in, blood out was good. Which is a Mexican gang movie. And what was I think it was the one with James Olmos. Damn, what was that movie called? I forget. But that was a good one. If we taking it to Cali. If we taking it to Cali. and Cali gang movies, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. it was like I said, we done named off a lot of movies. And I know everybody didn't had their favorite one. Hopefully we said everybody. Everybody's favorite one. You know what I'm saying? Because see, we can talk about certain movies for hours. You know, but like, oh, you see this, you know, that movie was good. You know what I'm saying? Or we just you say certain movies and be like, oh, I never seen that one. I gotta check it out. You know, sometimes that's how I check out movies. Ooh, a good one, slept on, Blue Hill Avenue. And it's good because it's about Boston. You know. You know. Why'd you have to sell drugs? Because I'm good at it. You know what I'm saying? You know, oh man, that see your determination, you know. It got poetry in it too, you know. Stop. Where your hoes? Let me tell you something, blood. Them hoes off a dope. Not for show. Oh man, Blue Hill Avenue was good, man. You know. And it took what? I had to go down south, and somebody talked about that dang on Devil's Sister Arlene. Who are you holding all those bricks up for? God? Let me give you a little insight about God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. You see me quoting these movies. Every time y'all talk about a movie, I can quote it. You know. Learn the subways, Kevin. Stay in the trenches, you know. I'm the hand up Mona Lisa's skirt. I'm a surprise, Kevin. They don't see me coming. That's what you're missing. Vanity is definitely one of my favorite sins. I mean, Kevin is so basic, self-love. You know, that whole monologue Al Pacino gives is like Oscar worthy to me and Devil's Advocate, man. You know what I'm talking about? It's just, you know, fighting emo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. And what makes it so bad is, I had a friend, when I was in Louisiana, and she actually looked like Dory, face and everything. And she used to call herself Dory, and she used to say, "Just keep swimming," and her eyes would bulge out like Dory's too. I'm like, "Hey, Dory," and she'd be like, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming," you know. But yeah, Finding Nemo was good, because when she was talking about, basically the wind in the water, or yeah, I thought of Finding Nemo, and I thought of the EAC, the East Australian Current. That's what I was thinking of, brother Zach, when she was talking about, the wind in the water and whatnot. I was thinking of the EAC and Finding Nemo. I just didn't say it. I was thinking about Finding Nemo like a bug. That's what came to mind. Land Before Time, Littlefoot. Yep. Oh no. Poor Petrie. Poor Petrie. What? Mother! Look. Sharp tooth! See? Man, Land Before Time. I remember when my dad took me to see that in theaters. That's an early memory, man. Wow. Exactly. We going into people's childhoods. Going up and down people's childhoods with dang on cartoon movies that were good. I mean, what wasn't Land Before Time a Don Bluth film? Oh, Don Bluth had some great films, bro. with great cartoon films. All dogs go to heaven. Let's make music together. Based in New Orleans, baby. American Tail, American Tail 5 Goes West. Never say never, Papa. All dogs go. I need Brazil, the thrill, the thrill. I've never been there, but someday I will. you know, Rockadoodle. I want to rockadoodle do with you to you. That's why you rockadoodle do. That wasn't all that good though, but yeah, you know. Oh my. It's the grandchild's birthday. Man, I remember every time my birthday would come around, my sister would be like, "It's the grandchild's birthday." Happy birthday, Chahi! Happy birthday! Bruh, like, look, we going on chat now. We're going on kitty movies. Well, our kitty movies. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna love all the Bollywood movies. Oh yeah, man. I mean, shoot, they were good, and I'm sure they had understandings to them, but because we were kids, we just like we remember them because they were kiddie movies. We really wasn't looking for no symbology in it or philosophy in it. You know what I'm talking about? Now I can never look at Transformers the same way again. Yeah, they have a lot. Yeah, brother, they have a lot of adult themes. You know what I'm talking about? Never people. No, never thought about them before. Now you do. Like that's what that meant. Oh, yeah. Lion King was basically Hamlet with lions. I would say Osirian Tale more so, but if you want to see a Hamlet movie, there's this Bollywood movie called Hider. It's on Netflix, right? I love that. I really like that film because it goes into it's a different rendition of Hamlet where it's about Kashmir and the occupation of Kashmir and how like Hyder, which is Hamlet, his father dies because basically his father has like a terrorist. He's a doctor. His father was a doctor, and he works on terrorists. And he's in his house, and then somebody snitches, and his father gets taken away. But it's really good. Like it's not too song heavy or whatever. Like a lot of Bollywood movies are. But it's cool because it doesn't end like Hamlet does. But it's good. And then like the main lead gives like this monologue when after he finds out his father's dead, and his uncle and mother finds him crazy, and he goes off on this monologue. It's real cool that I've seen YouTube people talk about when they talk about Hyder. How to Train Your Dragon. I've seen it, but don't expect me to quote it. I wasn't a kid, but hey, man, that Black Dragon was cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's always a dang on snitch. Yeah, bro, it's really cool. I like how it ends. And I like the different the different rendition. It's like Ran. Ran is a Japanese version of King Lear, right? But it's really good. It's one of those. Now I gotta remember the director's name because he did so many great Japanese films. But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon is good. Which we dealing with Norse and dragons, and but for sure, yeah, Toothless. That's one Bollywood film I like that I would recommend. Shoot, another one. It's I wish I could recommend it, but nah, it's just one of my favorites. Just because Shah Rukh Khan, his character as Ronnie McCurdy, you know, they're two married people, right? And but they're having an affair with each other, and then they like we ain't gonna see each other no more. And he's like, I ain't gonna take the train no more because that's how they meet. And he's like, I'm not gonna take the train no more. I'm gonna buy me a car. I'm gonna buy me a nice blue car. You like blue? And he goes off like he's never gonna see her again. She runs out there, and instead of saying, she loves him or whatever, she says, I like blue. And for a guy that I like blue too. So so if a chick told me that she like blue, repping the set. Anyway, but I like it for that scene. It's like real cool, but but yeah, bro. What's if we go on kiddie movies? What's another good kiddie movie? It's a movie that I've recommended. Nezha. It's a Chinese kiddie movie, but I mean, it's real good. I might do a review on it. Hong Kong Fooey broke down Heian Poo energy and its relationship to cleansing rituals. I know Hong Kong Fooey, but that's before my time, Chief. Like wacky racist. But I know who he is. If I watched old movies, I watched old cartoons. So, but I never thought about that. Said, was that the movie with the demon baby? Yes, that's the movie with the demon. Well, in a sense, he's a demon baby, but yeah, it's good though. Up in Adam Ant. And that title stuck in my head. Yeah. Even Sister Deidre say it was good. Damn, yeah, it was good. And it's based off of Chinese mythology, which was interesting. Yeah, he went way back. For some of y'all that know about them cartoons, I had to listen to old folks and know what those cartoons were, and then actually had to watch them because I didn't know what they were talking about, like what Captain Kangaroo and Banana Split, doing it. You never thought about it because I made it up. Come on. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, stay sharp. I got you. Who knew? You made it up. Okay. Copyright right there. Chief made it up. Bam. Hey, I didn't know that. But hey, you came up with it. Hey. Give you your masters, your royalties. 5 heartbeats. My office hours are from. We even talking about my office hours are from 9 to 5. Bro. For sure. Okay. I think it's time for us to go. 5 priority. They could have booed or something. They had to hit me over the head with no bottle. Call me Peter Head Chessboard. All them names and stuff. Where the hell's Bobby? Bruh. But yeah, give thanks. Okay. Because we've been playing around for like 30 minutes. The next movie that we would do is The Spook That Sat by the Door. It's based off of a book by Sam Greenlee, which is a good movie. It's on YouTube. We'll give you the link. But that's the movie. The Spook That Sat by the Door. I like that movie because it's based in Chicago, but that's just me. I love movies that's based in Chicago, but that's it's because I'm from here. But give thanks everybody, and I um I enjoy that film a lot, and it's something to talk about, something new. So that's the next movie, the Spook the Spook Who Sat by the Door, not that sat by the door, but who sat by the door, and we're gonna talk about that. So give thanks everybody, and I'll see y'all Sabbath call, and hey, make the good out of evil, and always always say that it's going down. You know what I'm saying? But peace everybody, and I'll see y'all later. Give thanks. Peace.